Gentlemen, welcome to Newsify. It's from Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, the Coimbatore campus. The first update is that the system of UPI payment has started in Amrita very recently. Our reporter Janet is there in the campus with more information.
E-wallets or mobile wallets can be finally accessed here at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Coimbatore campus. After much awaiting, QR code scanner for UPI payments has been installed in one of the prominent canteens here at Amrita, the Prasada MBA canteen, which is located near Pandal Auditorium, where most of the events and exams takes place. What do you think about the installment of QR code payments in the Prasada canteen?
I feel it is one of the best additions to the canteen because a lot of us already faced problems when we had to get cash in the ATM, and what we felt was not all the ATMs had cash, so we had to go around and then ask for our friends for cash. And I feel GPay is one of the best additions. So yep.
So let's hear an opinion of a faculty here in the campus.
Nowadays, demand goes in different way. The digital world is coming, so all are lazy to use the hard cash. So they are trying for this kind of digital currency. So based on student demand, maybe Amrita University given choice for paying UPI, something like that.
India had gained significant attention from the international audience for making e-wallets easily accessible to the public and vendors across the country. This is seen as another initiative taken by the university to make students' campus life easier.
Getting updates from Amrita. The first being that system of UPI payment has started in the Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham Ittamadi campus. Our reporter Janet is there in the campus with more information.
E-wallets or mobile wallets can be finally accessed here at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Coimbatore campus. After much awaiting, QR code scanner for UPI payments has been installed in one of the prominent canteens here at Amrita, the Prasada MBA canteen, which is located near Pandal Auditorium, where most of the events and exams takes place. What do you think about the installment of QR code payments in the Prasada canteen?
I feel it is one of the best additions to the canteen because a lot of us already faced problems when we had to get cash in the ATM, and what we felt was not all the ATMs had cash, so we had to go around and then ask for our friends for cash. And I feel GPay is one of the best additions. So yep.
So let's hear an opinion of a faculty here in the campus.
Nowadays, demand goes in different way. The digital world is coming, so all are lazy to use the hard cash. So they are trying for this kind of digital currency. So based on student demand, maybe Amrita University given choice for paying UPI, something like that.
India had gained significant attention from the international audience for making e-wallets easily accessible to the public and vendors across the country. This is seen as
Continuing about the updates from Amrita, Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham is a pioneer for education and student development. Its biggest tech fest, Anokha, is being conducted in the campus right now.
Hey everyone, we are reporting here at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham Coimbatore campus. So here, as you can see, there is Anoka 2024 going on. So the food fest here is happening right now. So there are 10 plus food stalls over here, and you can see as a crowd is building up right now, and this is not the optimistic crowd. You have much more crowd coming in as the time goes. We are here with a few Amritapuri students, so we can ask about their experience. So tell me about your experience in this campus during Anoka Fest.
Yeah, I mean, everything is very grand over here. It's very good. It's a new experience for us since we are S1 students. We didn't think it would be this way, so it was good.
How about the workshops that you've attended here and the food stalls that you've experienced?
Yeah, the workshop was actually very good. I attended a hardware workshop and it was really helpful. It was 1 day long. I really liked it. Yeah.
And coming to the food stalls, everything was very good and we are enjoying the food. It was very good and hygienic also.
So right now we are standing with one of our PR heads of the Anoka team. And so Miss Sagana, could you please tell me what is the central theme of this Anoka Fest?
The central theme of Anoka, if you ask, it's dare to be different basically. So daring to be different is that all of the students are first years, every department, each of the department is unique in itself, and we have enormous amount of creative ideas for events, projects and workshops. So that's what is going on for Anoka this year, and daring to be different is basically our central theme. Students are looking forward to especially Lumaire, which is our flagship event where speakers are there, Sudhanshu Mani and everybody. And also we have our projects display of students, which is called Tech Fair, which is happening right now in our college. And that is one of these two are like the main attractions that we are doing right now. And then in the evenings we already have eventide nights, Raga night, Pro show and Natya night. And also we have a lot of tech fests which are also student attractive.
Apart from the food stall arena, which is one of the many attractions of Anoka, there are events during the 3 days, including a music concert by Stephen Devasi and amazing performances held by the college dance and music clubs. Students outside of the Coimbatore campus have also set up stalls such as this stall set up by the students of School of Agriculture. A variety of vegetables cultivated in their campus grounds were put out for sale there, along with a few varieties of plants. Students from various departments of the campus were engaged with one thing or the other. Some were involved with organizing events, some coordinating, while others on artistic spree, as you see.
So 3 days of Anoka has successfully come to an end, filled with fun, innovation and entertainment. Until next year Anoka, this is me Akshay SP signing it off with cameraman Harikrishnan Sopi.
Thank you, Akshay. Now we have our show, The Bold Statement, coming right up.
The EPA announced that some Volkswagen and Audi cars made between 2009 and this year were using a so-called defeat device to get around emissions laws.
Volkswagen has been fined €1 billion for its role in the diesel emissions cheating scandal. Prosecutors said almost 11 million vehicles worldwide were equipped with illegal software that gave false readings on engine emissions.
Volkswagen.
New episode of Bold Statement. I am your host Sandeep Pandey, and today we are going to discuss about the Iran-Israel conflict. For this discussion,
Volkswagen has been
I would
fined
like
€1
to
billion for its role in the diesel emissions cheating scandal.
invite
Prosecutors said almost 11
U.S. ambassador and Russia invest diplomats. So, on my left side, there is a Russian diplomat, R. Venkatesh. On my right side, a US diplomat, Varsa Sagi. Let's continue the discussion. So, sir, we know that Russia had the old tie with Iran, Israel, as well as Russia had the tie with Lebanon and Palestine. So, my question is, what is the role or how Russia is going to balance their diplomatic relation with this region?
So, I would want to make one thing clear that when you say it that way, it feels like Russia has its legs on several different boats all together at once. That's not the case. That's not the cases. Russia supports the Palestinian question unwaveringly, and that's never going to change. Given the fact that Russia has back-channel open communications with countries like Israel and Iran, and we support Palestinian question. That's there. But at the same time, Russia proposes a very pragmatic approach to this very sensitive and volatile situation, and thus diplomacy is the only option that we see as a stabilizing force, not arming conflict continuously and just completely neglecting the other side. That's not what Russia believes in. So, given that, Russia believes that there has to be a diplomatic approach which should not be picking favorites rather than opening a dialogue among all. Now look at the Astana process, what happened in Syrian civil war. Russia did a wonderful job and an impeccable job, and nobody can deny it. Syrian civil war, when Hezbollah and Iran were at one side and Lebanon was and Turkey was the opposing force, we sat together and Iran and Turkey came to a middle ground and see what happened. The war stopped, and that is exactly what Russia is going to do even in this situation. It won't be some hollow achievements that US proclaims as for Abraham Accords, for that matter. It's not going to be Abraham Accords that's going to solve this issue. It's going to be Russia all over again.
Well, ma'am, we know that the US have a strong ally. Israel is the strongest ally of the US. But still, they are also advocating the Palestinian rights. So my question is, how does the US plan to balance their relation with both?
US as a country has been having historical relations with Israel since a very long time. And even though the times now are very painful and would be remembered in the history of time amongst nations, US has always supported the idea of a two-state policy to maintain peace throughout the Middle East. Israel as a country has had very vulnerable borders because of the previous wars that it has faced. US supports the right that Israel carries of the fact that it can aid its own citizens by counter-attacking on an attack that was started by a terrorist group. Now, we also at the same time follow the objective of peace about Palestine and the lives of millions of lives that were slaughtered in Gaza. At the same time, as Russia had this statement saying about the hollow promises that the US makes, well, at least we are open about the points that we support regarding the war rather than having very contradictive support systems. On one side, they'd be supporting the Israels, and on the same side, they would be supporting the Iranian government at the same time. Two completely contradictive thinking processes, two completely contradicting ideologies, and yet supporting them. So what do we make of it? Do we make of it as a war that is benefiting Russia's geopolitical gains? at the cost of millions of lives being lost? Because the United States has made it very clear. Our own citizens, more than 40 of them, were held hostage by the Hamas group. They have committed horrendous sexual crimes on the women and the children there. So
members, which you vetoed, which you tried to veto but you couldn't. Article Resolution 242, 1967 clearly defined the borders that Israel and Palestine should have. It clearly defined what are the territories that should be inside the green line, which is obviously the Palestinian state, and which should be in the blue line, which is the Israeli state. After that, 6 days later, the 6-day war happened. Israelis, the Zionist regime, very mercilessly came inside the Palestinian territory and started purging through the entire nation. Then US was there in the Washington, sitting on its sofa, enjoying a cup of tea and just sitting idly doing nothing. I want to know, what were you doing and how would you justify that? Talking about another point. When you said that it's an ideological differences that we have, and we are supporting too many countries with ideological differences. Yes, I accept that fact. We are, but as I clearly mentioned, we are supporting that. We are doing that because we do not want to be dogmatically, ideologically biased to one part of one ideology in the first place.
Wait, don't go into the deep. We have to go for the head. Okay, let's continue with you. We know that Iran support Hezbollah and Hamas group in Gaza. So we wanted to know what is the US strategy to conflict this thing.
well, the United States since the beginning has been completely against any sort of terrorist groups or any sort of terrorism against humanity. Now, I would like to answer what the fellow Russian diplomat had asked in the previous question right before the break. He mentioned the fact of the Israeli this thing, and I think I remember very well that a few minutes before, while he was making his initial statements, he mentioned about the unbiased position that Russia has, and how they have, through their back channels, would be sympathizing with the Israelis and at the same time with the Palestinians. Now, I don't know what contradictions. I think the contradictions are very apparent in this situation. And at the same time, he mentioned about the agreement regarding the Iranian this thing. And at the same time, I think during his speech, he mentioned about the Syrian war. So I think Russia is in no place to mention about personal gains when it comes to wars, because I think the Soviet-Afghan war is one such example where they felt that the idea of the communism would be going down, so they attacked an entire nation based on it. So, and talking about the Hezbollah group, the fact that they attacked the refugees that were coming back from the northern Israeli borders, I think that is reason enough for Israel to counter-attack. And this does not mean that the United States would be supporting any sort of violence in any area. We are supporting the fact that Israel has the right to counter-attack and give an answer when it feels that its citizens are being threatened. It has the right to not sit idly while their own population is getting slaughtered. So the United States would be completely supporting the ideologies in the Middle East as well by giving them various economical and various other sanctions. And at the same time, you mentioned about the Iranian-backed Hezbollah.
Yeah.
I think the fact that the Iranian aggression is being shown in the Hezbollah groups. I think, and the fact that the Iranians are being backed, their nuclear programs are being backed by the by the Russians. I think that is reason enough to understand that who is playing what game in the Middle East right now.
Fine, like I would like to say that both countries are playing the proxy game, I think, according to us.
Sir, 1 minute. So first of all, a huge point of order in one of your statements. You said, this is what the diplomat said, quote, Russia clearly mentioned that Russia sympathizes with Israel. That is not at all what Russia said. I did not even mention about sympathizing with Israel one bit. I said we unwaveringly support Palestine, but at the same time we have open back-channel communication to open a dialogue between the said nations. Another thing I would want to point out is that US has a huge talent of creating its own enemies. So when it calls Hezbollah a terrorist organization, Hamas a terrorist organization, they should understand. Okay, let's talk about Hezbollah being in the question. Hezbollah was founded in 1982, and why? It was found just before the first Intifada, when the Zionist regime attacked the Arabian nations. Palestine was under attack, and okay, I will ask you one question. You were colonized, weren't you?
Yes.
You are an Indian.
Yes.
What did you didn't you guys rebel? Didn't you guys uprise for what? For what was
Freedom.
the freedom?
Yeah.
And don't you think Palestinians and Arabians are there who are living in their own homes, getting purged on a daily basis, getting their lives eviscerated? Don't you think they have a right? They have a right to freedom. They have a right to sovereignty, and they have a right to live. That's exactly why Hezbollah or Hamas or any other organization of that sort was created in the first place. That the Western imperialists completely do not take under consideration. And talking about the Hamas's okay, you know what? For once, let's say Hamas is the epitome of all pure evil. Let's take Hamas out of the world. What do we get? Okay, and let's name that world West Bank. There is no control of Hamas in the West Bank region in Palestine. But even before October 7 ever happened, 77 civilians were killed, out of which 27 were children, 34 were women, and others were men, and including old people. Those were civilians, and Israeli occupationists, basically the people who are there occupying the illegally, illegitimately, maliciously, they killed those civilians, those 77 civilians, in the pretext of security reasons. What sort of a security threat do you have from children in a nation where there is no terrorist organization of any sorts? I would really want a logical answer from the US diplomat right now about this.
The Russian diplomat, I think, has mistook the entire aspect of the Indian freedom to a terrorist organization. Let me make it very clear. You were saying that you wanted to open a channel of conversation between Palestine and Israel. Am I right? Yes. So when you want to start a channel of conversation, it always begins from finding a middle ground for both the countries, both the sides, and that is what the US is advocating for. We are advocating for a two-state policy where both the countries would be given equal rights. Now, and mentioning about the Indian freedom fight with the Hamas terrorist group, I think this statement is enough to offend an entire nation based on it. The Indians were oppressed, yes, but at the same time, their rebellion did not involve killing of the innocents. They rebelled against the people who were in charge. They did not attack the women and the children and the innocents of people who were sitting on a beach during those days. And the Hamas on the other side started a complete terrorist attack in the month of October on a completely this thing. And it was not just the Israelis in the area then. There were thousands and hundreds of tourists and foreigners who were in that place. So you cannot compare a freedom struggle with a terrorist threat. I think those are completely two different things. The idea might be the same, And as the United States always has been saying that we do sympathize with the Palestinians' need, their cause, but at the same time we do not agree with the method. I'll make it very, very clear about the US stand. The US believes that the Israelis have the right to answer about what they have gone through, but at the same time it does not agree with the methods. It does not agree with what is happening. It does not agree with violence. It does not agree with children losing their childhood. It does not agree with women being sexually harassed at the same time. So that is the stand of the United States. So you cannot compare a nation's freedom struggle with a completely opposite way in which they were handling it, the Hamas terrorist group's way of tackling with the situation.
So, I want to applaud for the rhetoric of the US diplomat, seriously. But at the same time, I would want to point out that it was one of your governors, the governor of Florida, if I'm not wrong, Ron DeSantis, who mentioned in one of his speeches that Israel is very true to kill as many sons of bitches, many sons of bitches as possible. No, wait a minute. As many sons of bitches as possible. That was directed towards Palestinian civilians because apparently, according to him, a disproportionate attack is what is needed. Another thing is what I would want to point out.
Wait. Due to lack of time, we have to wind up our show. Thank you, everyone.